Good afternoon, everyone, for this Press Event 2.0. This is some really exciting news today that we're about to share, but first, I wanted you all to take a moment to remember a time when you've helped your community in a really significant way. Remember a time when you've stepped up, and that might have been to volunteer at a homeless shelter or serve food at a food shelf. It might have been to pick up trash along the river or volunteer as a local baseball coach. All of these things help people in the communities in which we live, and all of these things give you that kind of warm feeling where you feel good about yourself, you feel good about the work you're doing, and you feel even better about the community in which we all live. And I'm sure you've felt that sense of pride each time you've been stepping up. And now I want you to imagine yourself doing that kind of work full time, getting paid for it. We have those opportunities that are available right now at the city of Minneapolis where there is great need. There's an unbelievable potential to make a difference in the communities we serve. And you can do that through becoming a police officer or a 911 dispatcher. As a police officer and a 911 dispatcher, you're helping people during some of their most horrible moments of life. Those moments when they need help, when they need a sense of calm and they need safety. While they just need a warm voice at the end of the phone to talk to. Our police officers are stepping up in incredible fashion right now while they're short on staffing and there's more work to go around. And right now, you can imagine yourself being one of them, working right here at the city of Minneapolis for the community that you love and making an incredible difference for people who need your help. And so we're rolling out with a campaign starting today. The campaign is known as Imagine Yourself, and it's a collaboration between our incredible HR department and Accenture, which is a PR firm. This campaign is comprehensive, it's full-throated, and it's a full-court press to make sure that we are getting the necessary police officers into MPD and getting 911 dispatchers as well. This is not going to be the traditional mode of recruiting where we recruit some people in, they do an academy, and maybe we call it a day. This is a full-on effort. Everything from ads on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, to commercials on the air, to billboards you'll see in public. And we're also doing a full-throttle effort on the ground as well, and that's already been happening. And we're committed to trying every available option right now for this recruiting and retention because ultimately that's what our city needs. So this campaign is really about people's lives. It's about filling a very critical safety need that we have in our city. Part of that safety need is police officers and 911 dispatchers. And I'll tell you, there is great reason to become a police officer beyond the need to help your community. In Minneapolis Police Department specifically, there are opportunities for advancement. You will gain a skill set that you will never get in any other city in the state. And whether that's working narcotics or working to prevent violent crime, you're going to be doing more than simply pulling over a car that's going 20 miles an hour over. There are jobs in this department where you can gain a skill set, improve people's lives and safety. And by the way, we've got a police contract that is soon to be coming, and we're also going to be significantly increasing the pay. All of those things will be available. And by the way, this campaign is not limited to the work that is happening through this important Accenture tool. Our police officers and the administration here has been working very diligently already on a number of different items, from a step-up summer internship program for local youth to attending career fairs around the city on cultural corridors to heading to a local coffee shop where our administration or chief can interact with some young people. We're regularly visiting universities and colleges across the country, including historically black colleges and universities. We're going to military bases around the country, and we are beginning to see some results as a number of applications that we're getting this year are a tick up from the numbers that we were able to see last year. So ultimately, this work will take all of us, and this truly has been a full team effort over this last year. These people who are behind me right now have been out there doing the work. We've been meeting on a at least weekly basis and probably had calls well beyond then. And so I want to thank our police department. I want to thank my administration that has done some really incredible work. I want to thank our HR team. Under COO Anderson Kelliher, DCOO Garnett Hahuli, Director Nikki Odom, and Manager Parocha, thank you. Thank you for leading this campaign work and for all of your efforts to make the city of Minneapolis a top employer and a really great place to work. To the OCS team, Commissioner Barnette, to Chief O'Hara, Director Hodne, thank you for your ongoing determination to build out the best possible team that we can. Thank you to your teams. They've been working diligently each and every day to make sure that we're bringing in recruits that have the right mentality, that want to protect and serve these communities. We are beginning to see some progress right now, and this campaign is going to kick it on to the next step. And to our 911 staff and MPD officers, especially those that have persevered and they've stuck around, they've showed what it means to be courageous and heroic. They've faced some of the most difficult circumstances that our city and our country have ever faced. They're still here. What I can tell you that you're signing up to, if you're someone that's looking at a potential job as a police officer or a 911 dispatcher in Minneapolis, is you've got a committed team around you. You've got people that care about your well-being, and we want you to be able to take the next step, both for our communities and for your careers. This is a magnificent opportunity that we want you to be part of. Many of you have heard me say this before, but it's perhaps my favorite reason of working, a favorite reason of working at the city is to work with these incredible individuals. Everybody's got their unique niche, and whether it's responding to 911 calls or making sure that the water you drink is clean, people care, and they're stepping up to help. I'll just finish by using the tagline of the video you're about to see that will be going on air. Imagine yourself. Imagine yourself making a big difference in your community and keeping people safe during some of their most difficult moments of life. That's what this is about. And with that, I want to turn it over to someone who is most definitely helping people during some of their most difficult moments in life, whether he's showing up personally or his incredible team of police officers. Chief O'Hara.
Good afternoon. It's no surprise to anyone that the Minneapolis Police Department is suffering through a staffing crisis. I've been very clear that the MPD cannot address the challenges in recruitment alone. We need our city leaders to help support us in that effort. The recruitment campaign we are talking about today is historic, and we would not be here to talk about this if it was not for the leadership of our mayor here. So thank you, Mayor, for approving it. Thank you for your support. And thank you for going big, because that's what this is, and that's exactly what we need. Being a law enforcement anywhere is an honorable and noble profession. It is a calling. But being an officer in Minneapolis today is very unique. Most notably, it's a chance to make a real difference in a police department, in a city, and in a community that will define the future of policing in our country. I truly believe Minneapolis will be the greatest law enforcement comeback story in America. And who would not want to be a part of that? I am aware, however, that there is widespread skepticism about the honor and integrity of this agency. As an outsider, I shared that skepticism myself. But now that I'm here, and being that I know this profession, I know the character that it takes to continue to show up day after day and run towards danger despite unprecedented challenges. And I have come to know the incredible men and women that make up this agency today. They are not just Minneapolis's finest, they are the finest in the policing profession in this country. I am humbled to wear this uniform alongside them. I am confident I have the greatest job in the world. This is where I am supposed to be right now. This is my calling. But as I reflect, over the start of my career, I have to laugh. Many cops have a family legacy, particularly if you're an Irish Catholic from outside New York City. Their fathers, brothers, and family members were in law enforcement. But that's not the case in my house. My mom raised myself and my sister. Others knew when they were kids that they were going to be cops, but that wasn't for me. That wasn't my initial career path. But the thing that I do remember, in the summer when I got the call from the city of Newark to go to the Newark Police Academy, I remember going to my mom's house, and she was hanging out on the porch at the corner with her friends like she did in the summer. And I told them that I was going to be a Newark cop. And when I told her that, her and her friends reacted as if I said I had just gotten accepted to Harvard. You would have thought I was going to be a brain surgeon. She thought very highly, and folks in similar situations still do feel very highly about this profession. I'm overwhelmed by the support our residents have for the police officers in this city. It's just like the support I had as a kid telling my mom and her friends I was going to be a cop. And that means a great deal to me now, and I know it means a lot to our officers here today. My goal as the chief of police is to continue to rebuild this department, restore pride in this patch, restore trust with everyone in our community, and make the connections between our cops and our residents so strong that every parent out there will be overjoyed to hear their kid is going to become a Minneapolis cop as well. The truth is, as recently as 2020, I never dreamed of working for the Minneapolis Police Department. But today, I cannot imagine working anywhere else. I answered that call. I need others to do the same. The safety and quality of life of over 400,000 residents are depending on us to do it. Thank you.
Hello. I'm super excited to be here to kick off this campaign today. That's a really good thing that we're doing. We need new staff. We need reasonable hours for our existing smaller staff to work. They're overworked and they're tired and they need some backup. I've been a champion of officer health and wellness for a long time, including but well beyond wages. It was very intentional when Chief O'Hara started that I brought him to our local high school in my ward to introduce him to others. This is a long game, the idea of refilling our police department. We really have to have, and I want to assure people that we have infrastructure in place to care for the well-being of the entire officer. That programming will really appeal to the whole person, to the whole candidate. And these are intangible but incredibly important things to consider as people work in these very challenging careers. Council has its role in approving funding for this campaign and in supporting our staff. I've done my own best to highlight our recruitment needs whenever I can, at public meetings, at neighborhood meetings, working to recruit people at block parties. People are kind of like, yeah, we know. Well, I'm not going to stop. And this is not a scattered approach. This is a really full-on, consistent effort that is being launched today. So I'm really glad that as a city, we're trying a wide variety of coordinated recruitment methods and being creative. Creativity is really what we need. That's probably the best way to describe what we are doing right now. We're not the only ones facing staffing shortages. That is nationwide. And we really need to set ourselves apart as to why people should come and work for us. We have to be competitive and we need to be everybody's top choice. So the types of outreach that we're going to be doing is exciting to think about, and I'm eager as to what the results will show. Thank you. I'll introduce our COO, Margaret Kelliher.
Thank you, Councilmember Palmisano. I also want to recognize that we have with us Councilmember Rainville today, who have been great supporters of this effort. I am Margaret Kelliher. I serve as the City Operations Officer for the City of Minneapolis. And I want to share that I think that this type of recruiting activity is so important, not only for our police department, not only for 911, but to also say to the people who are here working for us every single day how much we appreciate their efforts, that they have come to work here, that they remain here. It is important that we recruit a top-notch workforce at all levels. And although we're here focused today on people imagining themselves in these roles, I want to say that I am inviting all of you who are interested in public service to imagine yourself serving the residents and visitors of the city of Minneapolis through many, many roles. In fact, I really connect to the meaningful and why it's meaningful to work in public service. I've had a long career in public service. I've worked at almost every level of government, and no level of government is more exciting in its problem solving, in its day-to-day connection with people than local government and working here in Minneapolis. In fact, our employees last year, when we surveyed them, which we do regularly, when we asked them the question, do you feel that your work at the city of Minneapolis is meaningful? 85%, nearly 85% say, my work is meaningful at the city of Minneapolis. And I connect with that sentiment. I came here out of state government because I wanted to see things done faster. I wanted to engage on police reform in a meaningful way as a resident of the city for 33 years. We have a high bar to meet, but we know the people who can help us are out there. We just saw in the last 2 weeks what it means to be a public servant in law enforcement. And I know the city of Burnsville and the families of those fallen officers and firefighters are feeling it still today. We know that. We need people to come and work at all levels of government, whether it's a 911 call operator, whether it's our first responders through fire that are out there every single day, being a police officer, working in public works. We need you. And so as we launch this Imagine Yourself campaign, I want to thank our Human Resources Department for all they've done, Nikki Odom as the leader and all of her team, and a deep thanks to Accenture as well to working with us on this campaign. I'm going to hand it over next to Director of 911, Hodne, to speak a little bit more about 911 recruitment.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank all of our partners throughout the city that have helped to put this together and help this campaign get launched. I heard the calling about 15 years ago when I first answered my first 911 call. 911, what's the address of the emergency? Just think about those 7 words for a moment and what they mean to someone who's having one of the worst days of their lives on the other end of that phone. We're looking for individuals who can imagine themselves saying those words. Imagine that they're the first people someone talks to when they're having an emergency. They're the first link that brings calm to a person in the worst time of their lives. The career as a 911 call taker is fast-paced and hectic, and for those who find it their calling, rewarding. Why is it fast-paced and why is it hectic? You're multitasking, helping to locate those who don't know where they are, classifying events to determine the best services to send, and all being done with a voice of empathy, compassion, and calm. As a critical piece of the city's community safety ecosystem, it's important that our first responders receive accurate response to the situation of information that it can be a matter of life or death. 911 call takers provide a high level of customer service. It's essential to maintain professionalism, even with dealing with distressed, rude, or hostile callers. Remember, most people, when they're calling 911, are in a crisis at the moment and not their usual selves. It's tough given that we're working at 20% below our authorized capacity. A shortage at 911 can lead to a delayed response. It can have catastrophic results. We can't miss a call. Every call is important, but every call can be rewarding. You are the voice on the other end of the line, keeping the caller together until help arrives. At the end of the day, you will know you have made a difference in someone's life. This campaign is essential to finding the right people. We're looking to fill 10 to 15 positions with a good salary, hiring bonus, and paid in-house training. The qualifications are simple: a high school diploma or GED, the ability to pass a police background check, the ability to work multiple shifts, including nights and weekends, and typing of 35 words per minute or more. Being a multitasker and the ability to simultaneously talk and process information is necessary for sending help in the fastest way possible. This is a great place to start building a career. Imagine yourself with the opportunities to promote and grow into other positions within MECC. And with that, I believe we have a video to show you.
This city needs great people like you to keep it running smoothly.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
We already have a ping on that phone number. Just keep them on the line, okay?
It's not the buildings, bridges, or streets of the city that motivate you. It's the people. And your chance to help them thrive as part of the community.
Give me a big one! Let's go!
Imagine yourself taking your abilities to the next level. Turning your passions into a career while helping make a positive impact in Minneapolis. And who knows? You might just save the day by being there when someone needs it most. At the end of the day, you'll know your work matters. So why not you?
So with that, this is the video that will be rolling out shortly. But this video is one piece of a full court press and an overarching campaign to bring in both police officers and 911 dispatchers. And with that, we'll open it to any questions. Andy.
Can you tell us a little bit more? I actually have a few questions. A little bit more about, like, beyond this video, what the marketing campaign looks like. I'm also trying to remember. I think it was the contract was for $950,000, but if you could remind us how much this costs, and it's coming from the federal grant, or am I misremembering?
So the contract is for approximately is $1 million. It's a $1 million contract in total. You may be right. It may be slightly less than $1 million as well. The work itself is not limited to this video. It's everything from social media ads to going on LinkedIn. It's job postings. It's a comprehensive approach to be able to also bring in the people that have shown some interest. So like any advertisement that you see out there, if you're looking to buy a new pair of soccer shoes or a diamond ring, we have some information as to how clicks are occurring, and we're able to then better track. Not to mention, this is going to go all the way up through my administration, through HR, and every piece of our city, in that once somebody applies, we can also have some direct outreach as well. That's direct outreach from staff that are charged with recruiting, and I do need to give a big thank you to all of the people within MPD and 911 that have helped do this work. I haven't yet mentioned chiefs. I haven't yet mentioned the assistant and deputy chiefs that are also here with us. But Gators and Blackwell have been doing an incredible job themselves.
Okay, and is it coming from the city's budget, or was this from some federal money? I just remember.
It was the $7 million from ARPA.
Okay, it was ARPA funding. Thank you.
And you had mentioned that that raises were coming, or that a higher wage would be coming for police officers. Do we know what that is yet?
No, obviously this happens in the course of a contract negotiation. What I said today is something that I've been saying very clearly, both privately and publicly, which is that we're asking officers to step up and do an incredibly important job, and they need to have the pay that is indicative of that work. So yes, we are looking at a significant bump. But no, we do not have that number yet, and no, the negotiation is not complete.
Can you speak to the importance of this campaign, not only for the residents, but can you speak to the importance for the current officers?
Sure. You know, like I've mentioned several times, the department overall is 40% smaller with sworn staffing. We rely more and more on mandatory overtime, on officers working overtime, officers performing multiple functions. But I think it's important to remember that the officers that are here, that have remained, that have stood by and been resilient, been incredibly dedicated to the city, have done that while experiencing some incredible personal trauma. And just like our residents have, but they have kept coming to work day after day after day for years, despite a majority of elected officials saying we should probably disband this department, despite day after day, 3, 4, maybe 5 people that were standing next to the Met roll call not showing up the next day, despite almost a financial incentive to give up and leave. So yeah, it's a very real thing, particularly at a time in the state where assaults against police are up 160%. To have this staffing crisis, to be living through even, what happened in Burnsville, what happened out west a few months ago, what happened in Wisconsin with officers being shot. Their safety is a reality, especially in a place where we are still struggling to get gun violence under control. That's a very real thing. Every time they put that uniform on, every time they drive that black and white car out of the parking lot. So yeah, we need the officers that are here to remain here, to back each other up, but we do need some good young people to come in and help do that too.
Was it tough landing on Imagine, the branding? Can you kind of walk us through that? And then again, maybe, obviously there's more to than just the video, but, how was that kind of crafting the image of this and the messaging?
Well, we have experts that have helped to put these together that go far beyond my knowledge base and understanding. But obviously, we've all been working as a group. We've been working together over the course of about a year to make sure that the message was right, that it hits properly. And look, this is one that I know will work, that I'm confident will work. I can't tell you the number of officers that we're going to be able to bring in the door. Nobody can tell you that in any definitive nature. But I will tell you that we're doing everything possible to get the word out about all of the opportunities that are here within the Minneapolis Police Department. And sometimes you have a message that lands with some and not others. Sometimes you have a joke that doesn't hit entirely. Some people know what that's like. I certainly have no experience with that. But this is a message that will resonate with, I believe, with the people that we're trying to bring in, and specifically, it's 18 to 44-year-olds. So this is the next generation of policing. These are people that are going to be able to come into a department that is changing. They're going to be able to come in on the ground level and be part of that change. They're going to be able to have all sorts of opportunities that they would not get in another city in Minnesota. As the chief will tell you, they wouldn't get the opportunities that you'll get here probably anywhere else in the country. And so if you're an ambitious person, if you're a person that cares deeply about protecting and serving people in our communities that we love, this is a job for you. Yes?
Can you tell us, and maybe there's a range for the entry-level pay for police and 911 operators?
We could probably give you a little bit of that, but let's just get you the exact right information rather than guess on it here. Yeah.
There's been a lot of conversation about looking for law enforcement officers from non-traditional backgrounds to law enforcement. What have you all been doing to, say, reach out to social work, people specializing in that, to people from non-law enforcement sort of backgrounds?
Sure. So I'll turn it over to both. And you're asking with respect to becoming a police officer, not specifically 911. So I'll turn it over to Chiefs O'Hara, Blackwell, and or Gators in just a second. But a number of years ago, we upped the level of, I guess you could say, points that you'd be able to receive if you've got some expertise in another area. And whether that's social service or community stewardship. that's some connection to the city of Minneapolis, whether that's living here or volunteering or working here. We've also been looking, and you probably know this, at expanding the areas of expertise that could lead into a profession of law enforcement as a police officer. That's some work we're doing at the state level. One example would be people that are involved in some form of, maybe they work in a jail. Maybe they have some direct experience de-escalating really tense situations without a firearm. These are people that could much more quickly become a police officer because they've been doing a lot of this work already and have the necessary skill set to step up. And so we're looking at changing some of the credentials required so that we can more quickly bring people in. Anything else to add there?
I would say this year, I do believe we're turning a corner, and the numbers are there to show it. Last year, we hired 40 sworn members to the department. It was not enough to keep pace with attrition. However, we are on pace already to surpass that this year. And just with the efforts that we are making with recruitment, we have a recruiting team has had over 500 leads so far year to date. Those are people that they've contacted that are interested in possibly applying through one of the entry programs. At this point last year, that was about 140. And applications are up in all the different pathways. But we have to acknowledge the reality of the situation. Yes, this is a problem in policing across the country. Yes, it's a problem in the entire state. The traditional pathway to becoming a police officer of young people going to these policing programs at two-year colleges, those seats, there's not enough kids in those classes to fill the vacancies in the state. And that's why we keep seeing every few weeks another police department in Minnesota closing its doors. So I do think we have to do more, as the mayor said, on the state level, to encourage through different ways the people who are coming to us now. We're getting a lot more applicants that are connected to the city, a more diverse group of applicants to our CSO pool. But that's something that's years down the line before they actually become police officers. But we have seen an increase in our cadet program, which is folks who are doing this as a second career, who have bachelor's degrees already. So anything that we can do to encourage more of those folks to come into this profession who have life experience, who have different backgrounds, whether it's social work, whether it's working in a jail, working in probation or parole. Those would all be very good things to encourage, I think, and acknowledge just how life is just different today.
So the message is we're already beginning to feel a bit of momentum, and this campaign is going to further bolster the progress that we're seeing. That is the goal. That's where we're aiming right now. I actually have to jump to my next thing. Do you have any final questions for me before you ask anybody else? No? Great. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief or COO or Director Hodne? We will be sending a press release out after this that has the exact targeted age groups, demographics, where these placements will be, and how the funding too.
In the video link?
Yes, yep, the website is live right now.
Yeah, I have a question on the 911 response. I think there's been a lot more discussion about police staffing levels, and I know there has been some on 911 operators, but can you just tell us where are we at right now in terms of staffing levels and what they were a few years ago and some of the challenges there?
Absolutely. We too have seen an improvement over the last year, and so we have more staffing than if you would have asked me this question a year and a half ago. However, we still need to fill the rest of the chairs. So we're looking at hiring about 10 to 15 more people to help fill those vacant spots. We can't hang sorry, we're closed for 2 days on the door. We have to be there to answer the calls. So what it's meaning to the rest of the staff that's working is they're carrying that extra load. They have to pick up those extra hours to ensure that we're always open. So it's critical that we get up to staffing numbers and stay at staffing.
What is the, what is the staffing level right now? How many people are working?
So we have 54, but 6 of those are part-time employees. Some of them are working almost 30 hours a week. And then we have an authorized FTE for the department of 69. So that's what we're looking to fill right now.
And was it fully staffed in 2019?
We were pretty close to it. There is an attrition rate in 911. This isn't an easy job, and you have to really have a passion for serving the people that you're talking to. It's like I said earlier, people are not calling you on their best day, so they're not going to be on their best behavior when they talk to you. You have to learn to really not make that personal. And so it's not an easy job for people to do. But the ones that are there, the ones that find this as their passion, I've got people that have been there for 30 years.